Start by saying my name is Dakota. I'm 25 years old, and I'm proud to say that Matthew is a friend of mine. There's nothing that I can say that's going to ease everybody's pain and suffering, but we all know Matthew was a smooth talker and could do it in a heartbeat. Although I could share many stories, there's only one that I'll always treasure. When Matthew moved to Florida, before he got his car, I picked him up, and I was supposed to drive him around and show him the place and introduce him to people. Well, about 25-30 minutes into the ride, I had been following his directions the whole time. And I kind of looked at him and said, I was supposed to be leading you. Well, how did this happen? He just smiled from ear to ear. And I knew then that I had to watch him because he could have talked me out of my car that day. You never know why God brings people into your life. But there's always a reason. I met Matthew and his family through Dylan when we were in a program in Florida together, and they both saved my life. Matthew literally, physically saved my life. When I got sick in Florida, on this particular day, all my friends were busy and couldn't drive me to the hospital. Matthew dropped everything and drove me 2 hours away to the hospital, where the doctor told me if I hadn't made it when I did, that I would have lost my life. They did emergency surgery. Right then, they had to bypass my kidney to save it, or else I would have lost the kidney and my life. But I'm still here today, and I can truly say it's because of the people that God puts in my life. And Matthew was my saving grace that day. I know y'all know him longer and better than I did, but the short time that I spent with him, he left a huge impact on my life, more than you probably will ever know. And I thank God for the time I was able to spend with him. Even if it wasn't that long, it was for a very good reason. This is Matthew, but I hope one day I'll see him. And my prayers are with the family and friends. Denise.
Thank you again, everybody, for coming. I really do appreciate all of you. Matthew was my #1 son, and as you know, some of you know, I caught some grief for that occasion. But I call him this because he was my firstborn. And after the arrival of his little brother, Dylan, Dylan got dubbed the term Mama's Boy. So Matthew, not taking too kindly to that, he then got #1 son, which sat very well with Matthew. So Matthew, though, also means a gift from God. More importantly, that was the real reason why I named him Matthew. I'm truly thankful and blessed to have had him. Now, Matthew was an extremely energetic as a child and even a bit challenging at times. You think? A little bit. But through it all, his pure heart always came through. Whether it was tucking him into bed at night and singing our medley of bedtime songs to just finishing a big meal, and he would say, I'm still hungry, give me something to eat. Thinking about food. But Matthew's passion and determination always came through. He would argue with the best of them, his papa, his father, his uncle, many of you, I'm sure. And he did most everything his way. He wasn't a conformer or a follower, as Dakota just mentioned. He would lead his own way, which led him down the wrong road a time or two. Even after several detours during Matthew's life, he was determined to take back what was his, and his most loved treasure, which was his family. You see, Matthew was lucky enough to experience unconditional love. Love without any condition, whether it was from me, Mona, his nanny and papa, his father, any of all loved Matthew through it all. We are sinners, and God forgives us, and we must forgive each other. Regardless of the path your child chooses, you love them unconditionally. You love them with the good, and you love them with the bad. You pray for your children to choose the right path and make the right choices. But they're their own person, and they always make their own choices. I just always pray for healing for Matthew. I want to share some of Matthew's words that I found when I was going through his stuff last week. And Lord knows I went through his stuff. I have reason to believe he wrote this on one of his detours. It was in pencil on a nice piece of lined paper. And he wrote, "There are good days and there are bad days. There are tough days and there are sad days. There are fight the world days and sing out loud days. But that's okay, because I signed on for forever, which is a whole lot of days. And as long as they are me and you days, I'm happy, really, really happy." I believe he wrote that for Mona and the kids, and I'm happy. One of the last things I shared with Matthew was a text, and I said that I will always be in one of three places: in front of you to cheer you on, behind you to have your back, or next to you so you aren't walking alone. I know Matthew isn't walking alone now, and I will always